All right. Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Amawan Ariyah coming to you with another lesson. First and foremost, we start by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawah, Bahashem Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone who do rule well. Also double salutations to the Akim out there doing the work in truth, also in sincerity. All right, to you all I say shalom, and also shalom to the few sisters that are listening in silence and all subjection. To you all, I say shalom. Hey, listen, Yahawah Shem Yahawah, man, he is getting these different nations together for war. All right, the Ukraine, Russia, America, backing up Ukraine with weapons, money, training, and pretty much you can say America's having a proxy war with Russia. Okay? Now you have China and Taiwan. China wants to follow in the footsteps of Russia and take over Taiwan because China feels like Taiwan, the only reason America wants Taiwan is because of the positioning that it would give the United States as far as military is concerned. But the Chinese don't want America on their doorstep, okay? So, each nation has a reason as to why they want to go to war, but, all we're hearing right now is just a rumor of war, and that one particular war, right, that's happening in Russia. As a matter of fact, Yahawah Shem Yahawah said that, that these things would happen, When we hear about these things, that we're not supposed to be afraid. Let me see, what did I pull out? That's KJV, so shit. All right, this is Matthew 24:6. It says, starting at verse 4, and Yahawah answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Right. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And that has happened, and it's still continue happening now. People such as Comfy, that call themselves a comforter, okay, deceiving many people. And it says in verse 6, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. So even though we're hearing of the rumors of war and we're actually seeing wars going on, right, as it said in the scripture, it's not the end yet. Things still have to, take place in order for the Lord to come back. Like, Apostle Tahar likes to say, the charagma must be distributed or, be made mandatory before World War III happens, okay? But what we see now is that Yahawah Shem Yahawah, he is revving up these different nations. They are ready to go to war. Okay, and one of the things that I heard Russia say was that if America continues to supply Ukraine with these military weapons, it's not going to be good. Now you have, I think they said the first place that they would bomb would be England or London or something like that. But now you have New York coming out with YouTube or PSAs in regards to if a bomb hits in your area, what you need to do, what the process is, what the steps are, and things of that nature. And, during my lifetime, I've never had to, see anything like that or hear of anything like that. But yet, here we are. So, hey, look, it's getting real serious out here. So I wanted to bring out a clip real quick, with these people talking about what's going on around the world. So let's listen up, okay? It's a lot here.
Well, this week we showed you this video. It's a PSA from New York City Emergency Management telling people how to respond to a potential nuclear attack. Here's a clip.
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why, just know that the big one has hit, okay? So what do? There are 3 important steps that I want you to remember. Step 1, get inside fast. You, your friends, your family, get inside. And no, staying in the car is not an option. You need to get into a building and move away from the windows. If you were outside after the blast, get clean immediately. Remove and bag all outer clothing.
If I might say, back in the 60s and 50s, maybe, 40s or what have you, in the past, when they've made these type of announcements was because, they were either at war or going to war with another nation, okay? So now, we see a repetition of this going on in modern times, right? Which leads many to think that, Babylon America might be going, into war. And we as a hopeful, that's what we're waiting on, man. We're waiting on Yahawah, to set these things off for these nations to start, setting themselves at battle array. We're waiting on these things, man. But until then, in the meantime, these things are being said. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have already seen this, but I'll play it just to get this part through, and then, there's still more behind this that's being said through the reporter. So let's listen up real quick.
To keep radioactive dust or ash away from your body.
All right, well, back in our March News Nation poll, more than 80% of respondents say they had at least some level of concern about a nuclear attack in the next decade. News Nation reached out to the city about the timing of the video. They said the reason is because a recent survey of New Yorkers said the number one thing they are least prepared for is a nuclear attack. And while nuclear threats are, of course, a serious issue, some of us in the newsroom got a little bit of a chuckle out of it because the speaker is smiling despite the topic. But all jokes aside, should we all be more worried about potential nuclear attack? Dina, what say you?
Probably should be. I mean, the amount of countries that have nuclear weapons is huge, and there's always conflict. But clearly this PSA did not really inform people of how to survive a nuclear attack. I mean, there probably is quite a bit of government research about what you really could do. You see things online about iodine pills and all sorts of stuff. As a citizen, I would love to know, does that work? The idea of just going inside and taking a shower, I think we know enough about the damage of a nuclear attack. We know that's not going to do it. If they have some real data about how we could be prepared, sure, give it to us. But that wasn't that.
Dan?
I mean, there's lots of data out there if we wanted to jump into it. It was so random and so weird. And yes, her tone was awfully bizarre. Hey, if there's been a nuclear attack, don't ask how, don't ask what. I want to know how, right. And I want to know why that just happened. So don't tell me not to ask that question. It's very odd, especially coming from New York, where it is incredibly dangerous to take the subway. So how about a PSA on how not to get stabbed while in a subway station in New York City? That might actually be helpful. Nuclear attack is not going to happen.
All right. Well, Dan, what do you say? Wait a minute. In Panama, I just saw. Did I see a little bit of an eye roll there? I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't even live in New York. I'm not afraid to get on the subway in New York. I'm fine. What I will say is that this PSA, did it prepare me for a nuclear attack? Not really. I mean, go inside, stay inside, check your phone. I mean, that's pretty much life every day, right? So But I guess if something ever goes down, I have at least a starter kit for what to do in the event that a nuclear bomb or something goes off around my way. So I guess I'm a little bit more informed than I was before that ad came out, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, are you Panama? I think you bring up a good point. I mean, did we learn? I mean, obviously, money was spent on this. It is a PSA, but
This
money
is
was
busy
spent.
work.
Resources were spent to go into this. I mean, was this money well spent? Because I mean, did they tell us anything? Dan, what do you?
I think she forgot step 4, which is make yourself a double after your shower, I suppose. But look, in a way, I was sort of glad when I watched this whole thing. Beside the poor quality of it, I think it's interesting because I'm old enough to remember part of the Cold War, I suspect, and I think there's millennials and Gen Zs who might not. So this is a reminder that, as Dina said, there's lots of nuclear weapons out there controlled by lots of shady characters. And not to scare you, but that could do a real number on your Pilates class tomorrow morning if it goes the wrong way. So,
Yeah.
no harm.
And I mean, and, let's not forget there is a major war happening, right now, and not that far, and there is that concern of potential nuclear threat, possible
But if
concern.
there's a nuclear attack on New York City, there's no one who saw that PSA living in New York City that would survive that. So this is
Would they
maybe
want
it
to
was put up
survive?
as a
Honestly,
state.
I don't know. I don't know if I would want to survive the nuclear attack. I mean, let's just be real here.
Well, then the PSA was definitely useless.
Dina, I
More
saw
if
you.
it
Go ahead, Dina.
was indeed, it's more if it was 100 miles away or something, right? I mean, I think that was probably their point. That nobody would survive it if it was a direct hit. But I do think it is interesting that we do know of this threat all the time, and that our government has to know ways of surviving. It would be really useful. I mean, that to me sounded more like a COVID PSA. Like after you interact with somebody, go home and take a shower and check your phone.
I mean, we don't really have to let the whole thing play out, but for the most part, we see these nations they're getting ready. All right, they prepare themselves for war. And let me see what else I got on this. This the uprisings in Sri Lanka. All these different things going on in regards to these different nations going into war. But for the most part, man. That's what we're waiting on. That's a hopeful that we're waiting on Babylon to go to war, man. All right, we're waiting on NATO to build up his armies. Real quick, I wanted to grab Isaiah 13:1. And it reads, it says, the burden of Babylon. Okay? The burden of Babylon. This is what Babylon's going to have to, deal with. And that word burden, when you look at it, let me see here. What is it? Masha'ah? What's that? Masha'ah? Or Masha? Alright? A burden, specifically tribute or abstractly, or porterage, figuratively, an utterance, chiefly a doom, especially singing, a mental desire, burden, carry away, prophecy, they set song, tribute. Okay, let me see here. All right, so for the most part, all right, the chiefly of doom, an utterance chiefly of doom, especially singing. So for the most part, Babylon has to deal with the thought or the notion of having to, be destroyed pretty soon. Okay, that's a burden. With that, with the thought of your nation, possibly being destroyed, not possibly, knowing that it's definitely going to be destroyed and laid waste. That's a burden. So Isaiah 13:1 says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up the banner upon a high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Okay? I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones from my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth up the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahawah, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So this is the burden of Babylon, aka America. The Lord is gathering up the noise of the multitude in verse 4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Right? Iran backing up Russia, Russia backing up Iran, China, so on and so forth. You have Korea, okay, who's on that same agenda. You know they're ready to take over South Korea, if you will. You know, and who's going to stop them? America? America has their hands full. She has her hands full, but the Lord's going to lay this place to waste. He's going to destroy the whole land, as it says in verse 5. All right? Moving on, it says in 13 and 6, it says, How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. All right? Because Babylon's going to be destroyed within an hour. A day's work is what the Lord's going to do when he comes to, you know, cleanse this place. When he comes to cleanse this place, he's going to do a short work of everything. It's going to be real. It's going to be real peculiar that day. You know, the strangeness of our salvation. I tell you. Verse 8 and says, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman. Right? Did I leave out verse 7? Yes, Salak. Let me go back to verse 7. It says, Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Right? Every man's heart, a.k.a. the mind, is going to be distraught. Okay? Confounded. Because when they see Yahawah cracking those clouds, when they start to hear the noise of those different nations coming together, people are going to be very afraid, man. On all sides. Okay? It says, and in verse 8, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them, and they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their face shall be as flames. Right. Their faces shall be as flames. I'm thinking about nuclear destruction. That episode, that little scene when in the Terminator, with Sarah Connor holding on to that fence. It says, Behold, the day of Yahawah cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger. But why is Yahawah angry? Well, did not Esau, have a perpetual hate towards his brother Jacob? And is not Jacob the firstborn son of, the first son of Yahawah? Or the son of Yahawah? Because we know the firstborn was Yahawah, right? But the firstborn son of Yahawah, right, the man that he called his son was Isaac. Not Isaac, Israel, which means, he is Prince Power. Yasha'Allah, he Prince Power. Okay? So the Lord is coming to avenge the blood of the saints upon the wicked men and the rest of this whole world. Okay? The rest of these heathen nations, especially the ones in Babylon, they're going to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. Okay? So, we're watching out and we're being vigilant, but, at the end of the day, we know Babylon's going to be destroyed. There's no way, there's no healing Babylon. There's no saving Babylon. And these Jays that think that can save the so-called white man, who is Esau Edom. Esau Edom is not Japhet. Esau Edom is not the white, Japhet is not the white man. Esau Edom comes from the line of Shem. He is the brother, the twin brother, if you if you would say the fraternal twin brother of Jacob. Okay? He's also a Shemite, the so-called white man. He's not, those Jews who are actually Edomites, they are not Japhetic. Okay? But that's a lesson for another time, But at the end of the day, we know Yahawah, he's getting these nations ready to receive their destruction. All right? To receive their judgment. So with that, I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to Yahawah, B'Hashem, Yahawah, B'Hashem, Kudash, Shalom.